Years ago, I hiked on the planet Tatooine. That's right, it's the Star Wars planet where Luke Skywalker drank that nasty milk with his uncle.
You knew my father?
I actually walked through the same narrow gorge where R2-D2 was kidnapped by Jawas. That place really exists, but it's not in a galaxy far, far away. It's in Death Valley National Park, which is about 270 miles northeast of Los Angeles. Of course, with LA traffic and no hyperdrive, getting there feels like it's in another galaxy far, far away. Several scenes from Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, they were actually filmed there. I was hiking alone, admiring the colors in the rock formations, and trying to shake the feeling that Greedo might be stalking me, determined to sell me to Jabba the Hutt. I stopped. It was eerily quiet. Death Valley has what's called natural silence. When no one else is around, you can stand still, hold your breath, listen really hard, and hear absolutely nothing. Kind of like in a library, right before someone farts. In my case, the silence was broken not by a flatulent reader or by my own disturbance in the Force. It was a crow that flew over my head. His wings made a gentle swooshing noise that I had never heard before. Usually there's too many ambient noises around to hear air swooshing over a crow's wings, but that day I heard it, and it sounded incredible. I hiked to the top of a ridge, sat down, and pulled an apple from my backpack. The crow, he followed me, and he landed on a nearby rock. He tilted his head and stared, eyeing my apple. I tossed the apple core to him, and he picked it up in his beak. Instead of eating the core, the crow began to hide it. He placed it under the crevice of a large rock, and then he hopped away. But moments later, he returned with a small rock and placed it over the apple core. And he repeated this several times, placing rocks one by one until the apple core was completely hidden. Then he glanced my way. I think he even winked. Then he soared into the sky. He flew to the rim of our small canyon and landed on one of the highest points. He paused and then let out a loud cry. It pierced the silent air and echoed across the canyon. Was it a warning? A battle cry? A distress signal? From the opposite side of the canyon, another crow glided into view. She flew over the rocky peaks, across the sky, and landed next to her friend. It wasn't a war cry after all. It was a booty call. He puffed his chest and he seemed to say, "Hey, baby, I got you something real special." He leapt off the ridge and swooped down to his hiding place. Retrieving his treasure, he flew back to her side, and with the apple core gripped in his claw, they took turns pecking bits of fruit off of it, enjoying what must have been a rare delicacy in the desert. I was amazed. The first crow could have devoured the apple the moment I tossed it to him. Instead, he chose to wait and share it with his partner. That's more maturity and kindness than many other animals display, including some humans. I've never seen seagulls share an apple at the beach, and we certainly don't see humans share the deals they find on Black Friday. I'm just assuming these crows were a male and female pair, but I don't know for sure. Maybe they were just friends. Or maybe the first crow needed to repay some kind of bad gambling debt. Or heck, maybe these two birds were in a loving, same-sex relationship. That happens, you know. LGBTQ isn't just for humans. These crows deserve respect. They showed me that we often don't give animals enough credit for their emotions, or their intelligence, or how they communicate. There's a lot more going on in their little minds and big hearts than we tend to realize. Now, I'm not entirely sure if those birds were crows or if they were ravens. Back then, I didn't know how to tell the difference. So I recently did some research. Here's what I learned about crows and ravens. Crows are usually entirely black, and they have smooth, glossy feathers. Their beak is long, and it has a slight curve. Their tail is fan-shaped. They have strong, sturdy legs, and they like to walk a lot, strutting along the ground like they think they're the boss. Their sounds are distinct caws, sometimes followed by some clicking. Ravens are larger, and they have a bigger beak. Their throat feathers are layered into thick ruffles, called hackles. They have an angled, wedge-shaped tail. Their calls are deeper and gravelly, like a croaking frog who needs to quit smoking. Both crows and ravens are called corvids. Not COVID, corvid with an R. Corvids are some of the smartest animals on the planet. They can make their own tools, like curving a twig into a hook to pick grubs out of holes. They can recognize faces. They've been known to bring gifts to someone who treats them nice and gives them food, and they'll harass someone who's been mean to them. So be nice to them. Some researchers even think crows are better at solving puzzles than chimpanzees. Do they also feel emotions? I think they do. They like to play. Crows enjoy sliding down snow slopes, just like we do. They tend to roll on their bodies, but maybe one day they'll use their twig bending skills and make some skis. They have funerals. If a crow sees a dead crow, it will call loudly to alert the others. Soon a large group of crows will gather around the dead body, sometimes cawing, sometimes observing in silence. Researchers believe the crows are studying the situation to learn of potential dangers, something that other bird species just don't do. Do they fall in love? That's hard to know. Corvids tend to mate for life, but just because they stay together doesn't mean they're in love. Just ask any gold-digging couple about that. We don't really know yet if corvids feel true love, or if they pair up as a survival instinct. More research on that is needed, but I'd like to think crows feel love. It seems unlikely that nature would reserve the gift of caring to only humans. If you want to learn more about corvids, I recommend Kaylee Swift, a PhD crow expert who shares her insights on these magnificent birds. I think crows are awesome. I like them so much, I gave them important roles in my comedy adventure novel, Voices for All, The Legend of ZoaBrio. It's the story of a girl who discovers the long-lost secret of communicating with animals. She learns animals silently talk to each other, telepathically, a skill that I call ziffing. When she discovers that she can ziff too, she finds herself in danger from an ancient clan that has kept this secret hidden from humans for centuries. The crows, they help keep her safe. They are her eyes and ears in the sky, and they swoop in to lend a hand when the evil clan starts closing in on her. A review from Log Cabin Library said, "This is a fun, middle-grade fantasy adventure with plenty of humor, light-hearted and entertaining, reminding me of the movie Cats and Dogs." If you want to read a funny, fast-paced thriller featuring a wise-cracking gorilla, an uptight ocelot, and a cast of animals just yearning to be free, you can check out my book. It's available in paperback and ebook. I'll leave a link in the description. And as always, please, be kind to animals.